I love Holly's picture. She looks like she's on like vacation.
That whole photo shoot she did is pretty cool.
Oh,
She did it for her website.
Holly, you're going to have to send me the link.
Put it in the chat.
Yeah, it's just downstairs or just downtown Charleston. There's one of me like riding a really old bike.
That's
and
awesome.
yeah, and it's on like the original stones that were brought over to start Charleston. You should come visit sometime.
Is that like you're giving people the grounding rocks to build their lives?
Oh my gosh, it is now. Rockstar, my new marketing. Sorry, Cheryl.
You can put trademarked by Marcy Lucian. No, I'm just kidding.
I will, girl. It's really good.
Put your link in the chat.
Yes. Oh, this way. I'm in Texas at my parents, so that's why things look different.
Where did my
I'm kind of sad. I feel like we're going to break up.
I'll still talk to you.
I'll still talk to you.
I said you could come to Charleston.
Right? I might. Who doesn't like Charleston?
Weirdos.
I think we should all go to Canada.
Yes.
And get an accent.
I was just saying to Mike, where are we going? Because I ain't staying here much longer.
Come to Canada.
I'll be coming. No, you live in the cold. I can't go in the cold.
Yeah, that's the
Well, it
problem.
won't be cold in the summer though, right?
No, it's like so hot right now. I just may die.
What's so hot? Define
I
so
know,
hot.
so hot.
It was
I don't know the difference between
Just say it.
there and here. So it's 35 Celsius today.
Maybe 80.
Oh.
Oh.
It was 90. It was 90 here. And
95.
we just
I
had a
was going
tornado.
to say, Lori and I are like in the heat index of the hundreds right now.
It's
Yeah,
like,
no, I'm in that right now. It'll get worse in summer. It was just sucky today. But you could go live in BC where my son lives by the ocean, and it's beautiful and it's warm. It only gets to like possibly sometimes -2 in winter.
Which is above freezing.
We
No, it's not above freezing.
Why is this happening? Oh, our towers must be down.
In Fahrenheit it is. 32 is freezing in
Yeah,
Fahrenheit.
in Fahrenheit.
Yeah, I'm converting for them. I'm just doing rough poly conversions because I lived in Europe.
Gotcha.
35 is 70. 35 or maybe 75-ish.
Are you good with meters and feet too, Holly?
No. I'm not good with inches and feet.
I am. We do metric here in Canada, but I'm like an American and I still do imperial because I just prefer it better. I learned it in school before metric came in and I've just stuck with it. So there's that.
There's this Saturday Night Live on it that they do this. It's like they're in war and they're like, we will bring the system of our measurement to all people.
That is one of their best skits ever. You should find that and put it in the chat for everybody to watch afterwards.
oh my God, Holly, the picture of you on that bike is like amazing.
We know meters anymore.
Thank you.
Hey, I haven't seen this picture. Is it on your website?
Wait, can you guys hear me?
I'm looking.
Yes,
Yeah.
now we can.
Where am I? Why don't? Oh, there I am.
Look at you. I love it, Holly, sitting on the desk.
Thank you.
Oh my.
Skipping?
Oh, hold on. Hold on.
Talking
That
about
was trickier than I thought it was going to be. Because I hadn't skipped in a very long time.
Where's the
That's
bike?
your website, Holly?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the website that we made for her.
Where is the bike picture?
My
I'm
agency
not on my
made-
website.
We do websites.
Awesome.
Did your agency make that? That's awesome. It's so nice.
Isn't it?
I really love the colors. They're actually some of my
I think
favorite
someone
colors
should
of
share the
all.
page. Can anyone share this website?
It's
It's in the chat.
Oh, it's in
she
the
probably
chat.
came out there.
Look at your dog.
That's the one, yeah. Fergie.
Can you get it,
Fergie
Kit?
the Duchess.
Why won't my headset connect?
I don't see nothing.
Oh.
Okay, hold on. I'll resend it because
Yeah.
probably because you showed up maybe a little later.
I need to update it. What? Cora, I can't. My niece that lives here is trying to FaceTime me.
Got it.
See, here's the real sales pitch, Holly. How much did your coaching business soar after you had the website done?
Not as much as I thought it would.
Oh,
But
sorry,
I love
Cheryl.
the website.
I was trying to help you, Cheryl.
It's not
she's gone.
Cheryl's fault. It's not Cheryl's fault. I just, like having been a missionary and having like a list of like hundreds of people that got prayer letters. Oh my gosh, I thought I would have like tons of clients and people like flocking. But I think because I used to do all that for free in their mind. So like it didn't have all the flocking. So I need to be building outside of my peeps.
It's different. It's different missionary. Holly and
Yeah.
I've been through this, but it's different missionary work coming back and trying to get business, this kind of business.
Mhm.
So you have to start all over. It's just starting all over. That's exactly what it is. Because for some reason I can't text, which I'm kind of trying to figure out why.
Oh, no, but either your husband's behind you or someone's coming to kidnap you. Because there was some person in the shadows behind you, Cheryl. It was kind of creepy.
He's making me coffee.
Oh, okay. As long as he's not coming to kidnap you, we're good.
In the shadows, you make it sound like
Yeah.
some horror flick that we're about to watch.
It
Can you
looked that
imagine?
way.
Can you imagine if Mike taught the class?
What?
If Mike taught the class,
But wait, are you?
that would be.
He's
At least
actually a good
I
yeah, he
know.
does project management, so he's good at that stuff.
At least you're recording, so if somebody did come and kidnap you, we had evidence.
Yeah.
Yep.
Of course, the video's going to her, so someone would have to get to her place to get it.
Jess. No, Jess would have it. And Lori and Holly especially. No, Jess. So
Nice
yeah.
website, Holly.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, nice website, Cheryl. Good job.
Actually, hers was fun to do.
Do you build them on Sales Edge too?
No, I build them on just in WordPress on SiteGround. I mean, oh, you mean can we? Yes. Hers is on SiteGround. I can build yours in your thing if you want, in your Sales Edge.
I know, I can too. I'm just lazy.
Well, there you go.
I'm tired of building websites. I never even get to my own website.
Well, that's right. You build websites.
I do. I don't even want to do my own website. Actually, I don't know how to build it on Sales Edge, but I'm sure it'll be pretty quick to learn it if I can, if I know every other platform, right? Like they're kind of the same.
You can just first of all, they have a video for everything, so you can just go into the help section and do a video.
I need to switch
Yeah,
mine
I
to a
will.
better.
And they do. They actually meet with you if you do onboarding too.
That's right. So one of the things that I started doing was using this. It's a sub of Go High Level, which is an all-in-one platform, and it's $97 a month for my clients. And you get email marketing. You can put your website on there. You get funnels. You can you can do your social media scheduling on there. You do everything in your business right in there. You can create pipeline.
And you know what's nice? They do not charge you more depending on how many clients you have.
Right.
So like say Coach Accountable, if you have 0 to 10 clients, you pay a certain amount, and 20 to 50, and they don't pay more. You don't pay more if you're sending out 10,000 emails, and you don't pay more based on extra social media channels. And
Right.
it's just,
It's
you
a
pay your one
good
fee.
thing. Yeah. So
The only thing they don't include is Zoom. You just got to connect your Zoom. But other than that, literally, and you can do your own branded app. It is really outstanding.
What's
it
it
is.
love
Look,
it.
I have my salesperson there. I don't even have to talk. I got Holly, salesperson for the websites. Christine for Sales Edge.
I'm not kidding.
Is it Sales Edge? Is that what it's called? Or what did you
Yeah.
Oh, there's
SalesEdge.io.
It's a sub of Go High Level. So they made it specifically for me and my clients. So I made it coach centered.
coach friendly.
Oh, I never knew that.
Oh yeah. So you can add specific things for whatever audience you're looking at. So I had mine focused towards coaches.
Cheryl, could you at some point put that in the chat so I could take a look at that?
I shall.
Thank you.
It's pretty sweet, man.
I'm
It's like-
curious if there's anyone out there that would help me just by taking a look at my website and giving me feedback.
What are you talking about? You're highlighted on Cheryl's Facebook page.
What?
Isn't it you? I was going through your through Facebook. I swear it was you.
On the business page?
Yeah, isn't there a post about Kim?
There was, but it was a while ago.
I know. I was scrolling back the other day. I was looking. I was like, "Oh, what's all this good content I've missed? Let me scroll back."
I can look at your website, Kim.
I would love to hear some feedback. Would I have to pay you?
To look at it? Look at it? No.
Okay, good. You never know.
No.
Would you like to look at mine too? Because I don't have one, so that wouldn't take very long.
Oh, Marcy. Way to go. You win. Okay, you win.
I'm not sure that's winning. I'm pretty sure that's losing.
Well, you're not in business for yourself yet.
I like how she threw that "yet" in there.
That's right. That's right.
You can do a website that says coming soon.
You could.
Under construction.
Under construction.
Yep.
And wait, with painted graphics.
Where's
All
mine?
right. Get that
Where's
I like your
consolidated.
background. You look all studious there, Dee.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I'm fancy
Yes.
today. My hair.
All right.
Is that background real, Dee, or is that just your
No, it's,
virtual?
I had AI make it for me. You can do that. It'll do that in Zoom for you. You can
She's
just tell it
dating
what
an
you
AI
want and
device.
what now.
There's my
Said you're-
link. It
you're
is an
I said
affiliate
you're like-
link, by the way.
I live and breathe by AI. I mean, I
You're
have created
dating it.
campaigns, and well, you can create a whole brand in 2 hours with AI. It's amazing.
All right. Let's stop playing around.
Actually, you know what's funny is I needed
Oh, do
something.
we
I
have
needed something for work.
to?
I needed something for work, and I just tossed it in AI, and it gave me a whole one pager that I turned in for something. I mean,
There
I
you go.
tweaked it, but I'm like, man, this is a godsend.
I mean, a lot of the trainings I do are for AI. How to build a website page, how to build a landing page, how to do
Oh.
your monthly content calendar. I have all that in my Facebook group.
Coaching with AI.
I
That's
just created a
where it's
course
at right
outline
now.
with AI.
Do you have more than one Facebook group, Cheryl?
I do, but the main one is the coach I do, but the main one is the coach connection. If I lose power, guys, I was in the middle of like the side piece of a hurricane, and
you're
a
here.
tornado, and now we have more lightning and thunder. So just in case.
Okay.
And there's a strange man behind you, so you are not
in the
destined to-
shadows.
Yeah.
right, Holly,
But yeah,
get ready.
the Coach Connection network is the main page. The other ones all have something to do with either a program or a free challenge or whatever. But the main group is the Coach Connection network. So, I mean, I think you're all in it.
And then the one that we get as part of this class for 6 months, what is that?
That is the Coaches Launch Lab, and you should have received, I had Jess resend all those today. You should have all received either an invitation or a reset for your password, but all of you have it. You're all signed up for it. So you have that for 6 months. Yep.
Is that a
That's
website then?
Okay.
I'm sorry?
What is that? Like what, is it a website or?
It's a membership portal.
Okay.
So you,
oh.
and there's a Facebook group with it, but you go into the portal and there's like videos and scripts and templates and all kinds of stuff, workbooks, there's all kinds of stuff in there. Took me a year and it's very comprehensive. Who's been in it?
I've
You've been
been
in
in
it,
it.
Chris, in it. It's good,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
It's got
Yeah.
a lot of good stuff in it.
It's extreme. Like it's so intense how much stuff is in there. I went, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And then I messaged Cheryl and said, what do I do first?
Go in order. Start at the beginning. All
You
right.
sound like Julie Andrews in Sound of Music. Isn't she the one that says start at the beginning?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Music
she is.
Very good place to start.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
I'm asserting
tonight.
Val is not coming. We're missing Val. Okay.
She was up in the mountains or something, and she said if she couldn't get on, if she couldn't get on, she wouldn't come be here. So whatever. I don't know what that means. But she got on the other night, so I don't know. Okay, so tonight we have Holly coaching Marcy. Is that right? Or did that get switched?
No, I got coached last week.
Yeah, but you got coached because you switched, but you were already scheduled for tonight.
Oh, I was?
Oh, I didn't know anyone was coaching anyone tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I don't have a piece of paper with me or anything. I'm in my car and I will remain in my car. And if I skip out, it means I've lost service on whatever part of the road we're driving on and I will return. So I'll try to do it by memory tonight.
Yeah, just you can just make some notes. Anyway,
I can't make notes, but I'm not coaching or anything, right?
I mean, in your head, no.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Are we starting with coaching?
That's all we have tonight is the coaching, the feedback, and then I'm going to go over the stuff that I posted in UpCoach. I can go over the stuff I posted in UpCoach.
Yeah, just give me a second to come up with a topic.
Yeah. I mean, if somebody else wants to
No,
get
no,
coached.
I'm good. I'll have a
Okay.
good topic. I got lots of stuff. I just got to think about it for a minute.
Okay. All right, good.
You like it when we fight to be coached, right?
Yes.
Not giving up my free coaching,
All right.
especially from Holly.
All right, so I'm going to share my
Yeah.
screen. Hey, Val. Share my screen. You should have gotten a notification, but in case not, we're going to go through it. Where's the share button? For some, you know what? I don't know what is going on. Like, I can't get my corners to show. Let's try it this way. I might have to reset. All right, where is it?
Feels like there should be some good joke to that, but I can't come up with it. I just want you all to know I'm sparing you. I'm in Maine and my we should do it while she's on her Zoom call. But
You're breaking up. You are breaking up though a little bit.
Oh crap. I'm gonna try to go to the main lodge. Okay.
Okay, so here I put 3 posts here and I pinned them to the top of the forum. So first, if you look at here, this is your assignment workbook, and it's just a little checklist of what's in the assignment workbook. So you can download both of those. I only need the workbook. And in fact, we can even go through the workbook. So your cohort number is Pilot, by the way. And it just has all they're fillable. You can go right into the boxes and fill it right in. We tried to make it really easy. So it has all the assignments that were in the in the up coach in the lessons. So I'm going to skip down. These are all those assignments. And then we have the final evaluation. So we'll go over this again when we have the finals, but this is where you'll come and you'll submit your form with this link. If you wanted me to do the transcript, you'll just pay here the $25. And then your book chapter summarizations, it's just 3 questions. They don't have to be terribly long, but each chapter has 3 questions. And then your peer coaching log. So just make sure that you write who you were paired with and the date that you met. And there's 8 there for your 8. And then you'll sign, and then you'll turn everything into assignments at scecoachingacademy.com. So that's your workbook. The checklist, again, is just a little checklist.
Cheryl, can I ask you a question about the workbook?
Yeah.
Okay, so once we complete the and we fill all that out, is it automatically registered, or do we have to, once we complete it, then send it to you or upload it somewhere?
No, you just email it to me.
Okay.
And the email's on the last page.
Okay. Okay, got it. And then the you know how in the last page it said like the performance evaluation? Is that a performance evaluation that you give us that we upload in there, or?
That's when we do the final in the class next week. You're going to upload the link to your, I'll show you the form. I didn't go into the form, but I'll show it to you.
Well, and then my curiosity was, when we do the final next week, we are each recording our coaching sessions on your Zoom?
On your computers.
So we all have the ability, even though it's your Zoom call, we each have the ability to record individual.
Yeah, I will give you permission to record, and then you can choose where that recording goes, and you'll choose your computer.
Got it.
And the 8 coaching sessions are the ones we did outside of class, correct?
Right, your peer coaching.
Yep.
And then this is your final performance evaluation form. So you're just going to put your name, your cohort number, the start date, your email, your phone number, the link to wherever you put your recording. So if it's on your computer, then you have to upload it somewhere. Google Drive. If it's in your Zoom, you can take it right from your Zoom. They let you do that now. Dropbox, OneDrive, I don't care where it is, but give me that link and make sure that it's an editable link, meaning it's like Google. When you go to get the link, you have to choose view and edit or view only. You want to say view and edit so I can download it. If you don't put view and edit, then I can't download it. Most of the other ones are the same thing. So you put the link here, and then if you're using one like Zoom, say it needs a passcode, please give me the passcode. And then if you're doing your own transcription, put the link to the document here. Same thing, you're going to upload it, give me the link, make sure it's editable. A passcode if it's required. Any comments that you have for me when you're, submitting, and then the cohort number. If I do your transcript, you just put in here, you're doing transcript, and I'll know this to do your transcript. And that's it. Then you'll just hit submit, and that'll come to me.
My cohort date is supposed to start from the ACC one, right? Because of my missing 3 classes, we're counting one of the ones I did for the ACC.
No, I'll I'll just adjust that in the letter that I give you. You don't have to worry about it for here. So
And
March
dang, could
6th
you
is
make
your,
this any easier?
it's going to make it easier.
No, I said, could you make this any easier? I mean, this
Oh.
is super easy. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, March 6th is your first, is everybody's first date. Okay. And then there we go. There we go. So then that if we go to the next one, we have the final performance evaluation prep. So we're going to go over this again right before I send you out to do your recordings, but basically, you know, everybody's going to be a coach and a client. So you're going to be on both sides that day. When you're the client, have a clear topic. Please bring a real clear topic. You will make it difficult for your partner to coach you if you're trying to use a fake topic. We want something real so that makes it easier on the coach. Don't make it easier on the coach by trying to be an easy client because that can trip people up too, right? You're just going to come with a topic and get coached. Not, oh, let me do this to help the coach out or let me do that to coach. No, just be coached on a topic that you want to be coached on. Don't ask for advice, suggestions, strategies, etc. That is the way that you can help. You're not going to put them into a position or test them or anything like that, right? You're just not going to do that. Don't answer questions ahead of the coach. So don't coach yourself. Let the coach do their job. Keep your responses simple. You know, the coach doesn't need all the details and all the background information. Don't go into storytelling mode. You might have to give a little bit of a background, okay, but don't spend 10 minutes trying to explain something. Ask for what you need. You know, I could use a few moments to think about this, or, you know, hang on a sec, give me a minute, you know, whatever it is. If you need something, ask for it like you would if you were getting coached by somebody outside of this class. Your coach has permission to interrupt you if you get lost in a story. So keep that in mind. You don't need to praise your coach. This was the best session ever, or you did such a great job, or whatever. It doesn't help their score, and it has no bearing on anything, right? And you might not get the outcome or progress you want, and that's okay. Don't force it. Whatever happens, happens. It's just a coaching session, and you're just going to be the best client that you can be just because that's who you are. Now, when you are the coach, remember that competency 1, demonstrating ethical practice, they are not confidential, these recordings, right? They come from me. I mean, they come to me. And although I will get your permission for this, they also go onto a private YouTube channel, just like you watched a video in the beginning. I think we watched Kim's video or what have you. That's where they go. It doesn't have your name. It just has your first name. It doesn't have like who you are. And nobody can identify you that way, but it's not private and confidential. It's not private and confidential because, again, I see it outside of the class. You guys might see it outside of the class, whatever the case is. So don't say it. Don't say that this is private and confidential. Which I'm thankful that none of you are doing. So that's really good, but just don't fall back into that if that happens to come up for you. Competency 2 embodies a coaching mindset. You're here to coach the person, not solve their problem. No matter if you've been in their exact same shoes or perceive that you have the best solution to solve everything. Keep your coaching hat on the entire time. Don't take it off. Don't say, may I make a suggestion or any of that, which might be okay when you're in your coaching outside of this class, but you're not going to do it for your final. Inquire and explore thoughts, emotions, beliefs, perceptions, values, needs, wants, culture, etc. Do not focus on next steps or action until the final 10 minutes of the session, unless your client does, that's fine. But you are not going to bring it up until the last 10 minutes or so. Or when it seems like the client has had a new shift or perspective. within the session, that might warrant it. Trust that the client knows themselves best and they will find a solution, even if that means that they have to go on to Google and look it up. Avoid offering suggestions, giving advice, leading the session, or exploring the emotional past. Don't use the word let's. If you feel yourself saying let's, then you are on the road to directing the conversation. 3, establishes and maintains agreements. Is there anything you need to prepare yourself for our conversation? Let's start off with a breathing exercise. You don't get to choose, right? So you can ask if there's anything to prepare and they'll tell you if they want to do breathing or if they need to close their eyes or whatever the situation is. What would you like to focus on, work on, think about, explore together? Any kind of combination of that or your own words, but staying on that kind of plane there. Partner to define an outcome related to that topic and focus. The outcome is something different or a change that can occur or be achieved by the end of that specific session. For example, if the client wants to focus on time management, that's the focus, not the outcome. Ask what's important. Remember, don't forget that part. What's important to you about whatever that outcome is. How will you know that we have or you have achieved that outcome by the end of the session? That's your measurement. What's the proof? What's the evidence? Scale of 1 to 10, number of items, somatic feeling, visualization, whatever that is that the client brings up. You won't choose that for the client. You won't ask, okay, well, on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you now? You're not going to do that. You're going to ask the client, how will you know? And if they say, I'll feel better, we'll say, how do you feel now? Let them come up with that measurement. Go a little deeper if your client wants something common. You know, a plan. How will that plan impact you beyond the session? Or what kind of plan is it that specifically that's going to be most helpful? A strategy. What would a strategy give you? What would it feel like to have a strategy? Clarity. What will clarity give you? What will you notice within yourself if you have that clarity? You want to get below those surface level kind of words. What do you need to address in order to move you closer towards that outcome? Where would you like to start with addressing that challenge or topic or focus? Competency 4 cultivates trust and safety. So acknowledge the client as a person, their strength, their being, their insights, etc. Refrain from that's great, that's awesome, you're awesome, I love that idea. You know, those kind of fillers that we put in there. Cheerleading fillers is what they are. Show support and empathy without trying to make them feel better. So no rescuing your clients. Acknowledge what they express. I hear the anger, encourage them. What else are you feeling? If you share something immediately, ask a follow-up question. Of course, we're not going to share though. It sounds like you really want XYZ more than ABC. How true might that be? Always going to check in with that, right? 5, maintains presence. Give the client choice. Where do you want to go from here? Never, ever, ever say let's. Be curious about the client in the here and now, not the past. Don't ask for background information or details because you don't need it. They may offer it, but you don't need it. Allow silence after it seems the client stopped speaking. No need to rush to ask that next question. Give that 10-second space. Refrain from those fillers. Yeah, right. Be silent when the client thinks. 6, listens actively. Use the client's words always. Avoid pronouns. So do what is important to you about having more clarity. Don't say, why is this important? Or why is that important? Ask about the meaning or importance of words as appropriate. So what does ABC mean to you? What's important about ABC or XYZ? Ask about emotions beyond the basic. How does that make you feel? What's it like for you when you feel that emotion? When you are busy with XYZ, what emotions do you notice? Ask about laughter, change of voice, and invite a question to explore, not to check if you are right. So I noticed you just laughed after saying ABC. What does that laughter mean? Don't say you just laughed. Did I get that right? Or something like that. You're not asking for the acknowledgement that you understood what they just did. You want to find out why they just did what they did. And that could be a laugh. It could be, it could be a sigh. It could be any kind of a, thing that you see a client do to to kind of indicate that something's going on, something emotional or thought-provoking is going on. You can question that. Ask about beliefs or assumptions. So what story do you tell yourself when XYZ? What do you believe to be true about ABC? Keep summary short, sweet, and to the point. Maybe even invite the client to summarize. I can hear a lot is going on for you. How would you summarize what's important from that? Remember, you're not doing the laundry list of reflection. I heard you say A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V. No, we're not doing all that. Very succinct. 7, evokes awareness, explore the present, future, other ways of looking at something and going deeper. What does that feel like? What would you like to feel about this? How do you feel about yourself? How would you like to see yourself? What's important about XYZ? If you could have XYZ, what would that mean for you? Open questions one at a time. Begin with what or how. Sometimes you can use the other ones that are open-ended, but what or how are typically going to be the main questions. No, is there, could you, have you, how about, that's not what we want to do. Those are all close-ended. Ask your question, after you ask your question, stop. Don't fill it. Don't try to re-ask it, reframe it, whatever. Let the client reply. And if need be, then you can reformat the question. If that needs, if the client says, I don't understand your question, then go ahead and, reframe it. But keep it simple. No monologues from the coach. Go ahead, Val.
But isn't summarizing at some point a good thing sometimes?
Yeah, so just keep them short and sweet. Just saying, don't do a laundry list of summaries.
Okay.
And then 8, facilitates client growth. So what progress have you made towards the outcome? What have you learned about yourself? What have you learned about the outcome? Now that you've learned XYZ, how can you apply that after this session? Who just did that I was very excited about? And I said it on your call. Was it you, Georgie? It was.
Yeah,
I loved that.
right.
I loved it. She asked, do you remember what the question was specifically?
I think it was about how they were going to apply. Was it that one? Yeah.
Yep.
How they were going to apply the learning to other aspects of their life.
Yeah, loved it. It was my favorite thing. And then what next steps would you like to take? What support do you need? What could get in the way? What accountability would serve you best? Not how will you hold yourself accountable? Who will hold you accountable? What accountability would serve you best is a very generic one. There's other ways to ask that, obviously, but you don't want to ask, give a specific area like themselves or somebody else, right? You want them to decide how that happens. Don't auto insert yourself. Let the client choose you. So if they do choose you as an accountability, that's fine. But usually you're going to be the secondary, right? You're going to want them to come up with something first and, as a primary accountability, and then you can be a secondary. I say that with some trepidation because I feel like that sometimes when you get that permission, that sometimes starts to overflow into the first being the primary. So I would say in your exam, not even to do that. Outside of your exam, if a client really wants you to be the accountability person, you could say, I could definitely be a backup for you. What do you think would be a good primary way to hold yourself accountable? And then how would you like to close the session? Simple question and let the client decide. So above all, you're going to do your best. You've been watching one another coach. You've been engaging with the markers this whole time. You know what coaching is and what coaching is not. You do your best as you know how and trust the magic of the coaching process. Okay, so that is And you can copy and paste that over to a document if you'd like. And then this one we'll go over again on the night of the exam, but the form to submit your recording, the transcription link fee if you want that. And then this is very important. After we're done everything, I'm going to ask that you go and you give me feedback on the course. Couple things here. This is a pilot course. And so my marketing around this is very limited because it's a pilot and I don't have any testimonials. So 2 things. I would love feedback to improve beyond what I've already changed and improved on as we went through the course. I would like from your view. And then also to get a testimonial with the understanding that you remember it's a pilot when you give that testimonial, because things have not been perfect and they never are in a pilot. So really just like if you focus on materials, if you focus on the instruction, that would be great. Feedback, I will take feedback any way that you want to give it to me. That's fine as well. So these things, of course, are the 3 final things when we are done the recordings and done your final exams. Questions about any of that? No? Kim, you're already in Coach's Lab. That's why. You just have to go and try to log in. Like you were in it from before. I'll check yours, Dee.
Where
So
did you
just
send,
go-
where did you send the invitation, Cheryl?
Whatever email I have on file.
I didn't see one either.
It should have been like a password reset email.
Oh,
Because we added you and then we had to do a password reset so you could get in.
oh, okay.
So check for that.
Do I
Okay.
access that through Facebook or is that like a separate email, like a separate?
That's separate. It's Coach. It's hang on. Let me get just to get the you know what, Dee? I might have used the wrong email now that I'm thinking about it. I think I have a couple emails for you. Do you want to put in the chat which one you want me to use?
Yes.
I'll put the link as soon as Jess tells me what it is because I forget what it is. All right. So questions about any of that?
No, I just want to say the emails are coming from Coaching Biz.
Yes. Coachingbiz.com.
I don't think I got it either.
I just texted her, so I'm trying to see what's going on there. Did you get one, Lori?
Coaching Biz, B-I-Z,
I did. Yes. I got
Okay,
it.
so Lori.
So it doesn't identify anything other than saying reset password and it's from Coaching Biz.
Okay.
Just so you guys like don't trash it or anything.
Yeah, because that's where your newsletter comes from as well.
No, the newsletter comes from successfulcoaches.com.
Yeah, I don't have anything from Coaching Biz.
Okay. She should let me know shortly.
All right.
Okay. Do you have a
An
topic?
excellent topic for Holly.
Awesome.
Well, I don't know.
All right.
We'll let Holly decide if it's an excellent topic.
All right, cool. So we're gonna get started, and I'm just gonna give you guys a core competency, not a marker. So I want you to look at the as much as you can. Look at the markers within the competency. Who hasn't done 3 yet? The coaching agreement. Has everybody done that? Georgie hasn't. I didn't. Okay, Georgie, you do 3. How about 4? Who hasn't done 4? Go ahead, Val. You do 4. D, have you done 5?
Yeah, I'll do 5. That's fine.
Okay, 6. Go ahead, Kim. 7. Lori, 8. Christine, because it'll be easier for 8, I think. You won't have to write anything down, I don't think.
Yeah,
So
thank
you
you.
want me
Yes,
on
I vote
5?
basically 3 or 8 I was hoping for today.
All right. Holly, it is 7:15. You're gonna have 30 minutes. 7:45. You have the floor.
Well, Holly, that means you get like 45 minutes of coaching after.
1 second, Marcy. I'm trying to pin you. There we go. I'm on an iPad. Okay, there we go. Hey.
Hey.
So, what would you like to focus on tonight?
Yeah, so this isn't a topic that I've thought about using before, but I think it's I think you're the perfect coach for this topic. So, probably about, be brief on this, about 2 years ago, I was going to a mega church, and there was, obviously, I feel like mega churches have like goods and bads, but and I was extremely involved, and there was some questionable things going on. So I'll just say that because it's kind of irrelevant. But I ended up, and nothing happened to me personally there. So it wasn't like a personal whatever. It was just, hey, this isn't great. It's time to go. So I left, and I'd been there probably, I don't know, 12 years. It was a long time. Well, not like long time, but 12 years is a long time. So I was pretty invested, pretty involved. And I went to a small startup church, and that was kind of disastrous. So I kind of went from one extreme to the other. And then I just kind of became unchurched, if you will. So I've tried different churches locally, and I woke up one night and I was like, God was just kind of like, oh, well, it's time for you to go to real life. And I'm like, I don't, and it wasn't like this is infinite, like you're going to be here forever. It was just kind of like, right now, this is where you're going to go. And I'm like, okay. So I go there sporadically. And it's a mega church too. It's kind of nice because I can slide in and hide in the back and not be overly involved and slide out, which is probably kind of where I am right now. But I am not super, for lack of a better term, religious and going, where it used to kind of be like a highlight of my week. It was, kind of reset me. I felt it was like it was just very healthy for me. And now I feel like I'm just kind of like, and I still do, like, I have a Bible study that I do online during the year. I do Bible study fellowship, but I kind of went from leading groups and, being a deacon and helping serve and all of those things, to not even going at all. And I'm not really sure it's been great for me spiritually, mentally. Like, I think there are a lot of places in my life that have kind of suffered, but I haven't really spent time kind of honing in what am I looking for from that next church? Like what is really important to me, and what are the areas that I'm maybe aren't so important.
Well, first, let me commend you on being a Bible fellowship leader. That is a big deal. So when you're thinking about new church and like defining what's important for you, which of those two is heaviest on your heart right now?
So I think the piece that I struggle with the most is, do I need to go to a church that best serves me, or do I need to go to a church where I can best serve? And I think where I struggle at this point is I feel like because of some of the things that have happened, right? Like maybe I need to go to a church where I can be served for a while and kind of heal, for lack of a better term, and then know that maybe down the road I'll go to a church where maybe, I mean, it doesn't have, no church is perfect, right? But where I can be better used to serve. And
What do
maybe
you
it's
think?
one and the same, but sorry.
No, sorry. What is the importance of exploring this topic? Or how is the importance of exploring this topic gonna help you?
Yeah, I mean, I feel kind of like my faith has kind of dwindled a little bit. And so I Bible study fellowship is really just during the school year, and then I do a study every other week with friends of mine from a dog rescue, but they're not very deep studies, and so I feel like I'm kind of doing the surface level stuff, and I think it impacts my peace. Not that it seems peaceful talking about hanging out in a lion's den, but yeah, it's right. There is peace. I feel more centered, right? It's like that. I'm sure you've seen it. They do that thing of like, is God a piece of your pie or is he the center of your pie? Yeah.
Yes.
Right now he's a very skinny piece of it. And that's like, he used to be like the center and a few sections, right? So I feel like that has just impacted my peace in multitudes of places of my life.
Yeah, so the word that you have said multiple times then is peace, and the importance for peace. How does that feel for you?
If I had it, it would feel great.
What would look successful for this focus tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I think having a better understanding of what's important to me, at least in the actually, I think for me, what's important for me in the long term. I know that sounds kind of in reverse, but I feel like, short term, I know I could go to a church and find it for what works for me. But I think where I kind of get lost is I feel like because I'm not leading Bible studies or I'm not engaged at a deeper level, that I kind of need that hope of the light at the end of like, okay, so once I go through this process for me, like, where does that lead me to? What is my ultimate, and you don't like faith to be a goal, but what is my goal of where I want to land?
Yeah. Sorry, you cut out there for a second.
Oh, sorry. Where's my goal of where I want to land?
Okay.
So knowing that going through the healing process and going like, then where does that land me? And what am I looking for in the end?
So what are you looking for in the end in our session tonight?
Yeah, so I'd kind of like to walk away with 3 to 5 things. I know that's kind of a broad number, but 3 to 5 that are really important, that no matter where I land in the end, are important for me to have.
And I did not hear what you.
Oh, yeah, I don't know what's happening. No matter where, I'm going to turn off my video and see if that helps for a quick minute.
Actually,
no matter
I'm
where.
just gonna interrupt. So she's not breaking up for us.
Me?
Right. You're not breaking up for me.
I'm, yeah, at my parents' place, it's kind of sketch sometimes here.
Okay. We'll just keep going if
you.
No.
Okay. I just am missing.
Yeah, but if you miss something, just let me know.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so I just think walking away with like 3 to 5 things that in my long-term church that are important for me to have.
3 to 5 things that are important for long-term church. Long-term church.
Maybe I just need to Google for long-term church. Just put in long-term church and see what comes up. I'm just kidding.
Not sure. And how is the meaning of this going to impact you moving forward?
I think it'll help me through the healing process of where I am. I think it'll kind of help heal kind of the last experiences and help me move forward to be ready to serve again.
So where would you like to start tonight?
Maybe the things of the church the big church that I went to, the things that I liked there. Maybe that's a good place to start. Or that were important to me there.
So what were some of the things that you liked and held importance?
Yeah, so I really enjoyed their worship because it was really loud and I could sing and nobody could hear me. I'm pretty sure everybody else appreciated that as well because I definitely make a joyous noise, not a melodious song.
Mm-hmm.
This highlighted for me. I went to a church for a while and they did the old school hymns and I just can't do that. I mean, it's good for a week or two, but I am not a hymn girl anymore. I'm not sure I ever was. The messages for me. So the pastor at that church literally was going through the Bible from A to Z. And he had a really incredible storytelling. And that's one of those pieces that I'm not sure I'll re-find, but someone who teaches true to the word isn't afraid to back down to what is said. And I would say someone that has.
Marcy, Holly keeps cutting in and out.
Yeah, I just saw that.
I switched devices, so hopefully this will work better.
Okay.
So no, it cut. I lost you. So after worship, then you started to talk about the next thing that you.
Oh yeah. So the pastor gave really true to the word messages. He didn't really back down from tough messages. And right, it was about teaching about the history of the time. So I think in my mind, right, like, I mean, I might find something similar, if you will, but if I'm not getting that history or those pieces there, having somewhere else in Bible study or something where I'm gaining that. And then a church that is a church for you'll probably like this one, Holly. A church family, not a church for families.
Mm.
You can put that on your website too.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just kidding. Have you heard that before?
I have not heard it phrased that way, but that is phrased pretty wonderfully.
Yeah. And then, within that, a place where, I can find a home to serve. Which maybe that's Bible studies. I mean, maybe that was a season for me, but I don't know. I really kind of enjoyed the Bible studies that I've led over the years.
So the 4 things we have so far is worship, word center, exegetical, but that's a big word, a family church, and then a church where you could serve.
Yep.
How did it feel when those 4 things were aligned for you?
It feels good, other than I have found it hard to find.
Hmm.
Like when I envision that, it feels really good and it feels like a place I should be. It's just those tend to be hard things to find. Or I have found them hard to find.
How does it feel when you try to find God right now?
Oh. It's kind of quiet. I'm in a quiet season. Probably because I'm not engaged.
What emotions are you feeling right now as we talk about not being engaged?
It makes me, I mean, I just feel disconnected. I mean, it's interesting, right? Like, in part, my trip really kind of spawned this. We went and I saw the David statue in Florence.
Oh,
And my cousin's husband says to me, "Oh, that's David from the Bible." And I'm like, "Who did you think it was?" And he was like, "I just thought it was some guy named David." I didn't realize. And
bless.
so and so I was like, "Oh, well, you know that David was the least likely to be the king and he's in the line of Jesus." And he was like, "I had no idea." And I was like, right? And I was like, I'm like, I'm missing 2 part. I'm missing learning those stories and the history behind them. And I'm also missing the opportunity to share those with others, right? Because I feel like it's kind of like twofold. When you learn those things, it's always super exciting, especially when you see how the word totally interconnects and how the stories play out and foreshadowing and all of those things. It's just like you can't not be in awe. But then in the same token, being able to share and see that on others. I'm going to plug in super quick.
Oh, I wondered if that was you.
There we go. So that to me is sad that hasn't been going on for me.
How do you learn best? How do you learn best?
Auditory. I'm an auditory learner.
And what's that look like for you?
So whether really the messages or Bible study, for me, it's really in-person messages, because if it's just auditory, I'm not quite as good. So like the BSF lectures now, because I do it online, are all just auditory. But if I do like a Priscilla Schreier video series, or if I do Jen Wilk, like if I do one of those, I normally have videos. And so that seems to, and some people who do videos are way more engaging than others, but like Jen Wilkin does a lot of the history and like how things play out. Kelly Minter does some good ones too, but it's just like that engaging, that excitement about the story, and you can watch them and see their faces and as they run around like crazy people. Not really crazy, just excited.
So when you think about being connected and you think about being an auditory learner, video learner, how does that connect? What does that connection look like for you in your mind?
Yeah, so I think for like Bible studies, that's okay for me, like the video stuff. But I feel like the piece that I miss is like, it's that in-person church service. And I know that's kind of old school, if you will, but there is, it's interesting in yoga. So I teach yoga, and they talk about, I don't know, people have all sorts of reasons about oming, and they come up with all sorts of mystical stuff. But really the point of oming is the vibration of multiple people creates healing in the body, right? They've done studies on it, proves it. And I'm like, no wonder people leave church and feel so good, because you have all these people singing and all this vibration going on, right? And there is just something that, even if it's a hymn that I'm not very hymnful, that's not a word I know, but that vibration, that connectivity with others, singing there, that to me is just, it's just a very healing, soothing thing to have. And now I forget your question, and I probably didn't really answer it.
Well, I've got a better one. What does that look like for you? Feel like for you when you are in worship?
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a hard thing to put into words. I don't think that that's really something I could put into words. I mean, it's a good feeling, right? Like I could say that, but that's really like a, I mean, it's kind of like, well, it's not kind of like, I mean, you're honoring God, right? It's kind of like I don't think it's really describable. It's indescribable. It's my word.
Nice. So we're about halfway through our session. I just wanted to check in how you feel we're doing so far with this topic, with finding a long-term church.
I feel pretty good.
What do you feel is the heart of this matter for you?
I feel like starting over is hard. I had a lot of relationships in my old church, and a lot of those folks, right? It was like kind of my Sunday morning family, and I had done life with a lot of them. And sadly enough, a lot of them aren't even in the area anymore. So a lot of the staff from that, it's not even like I could still like go have coffee with a lot of them anymore. So there was about, I don't know, like 60 people on staff, probably about 80 with, if you start getting into elders and whatnot. And by the time it was all said and done, I want to say there's maybe 10 to 15 of the original people left, and everybody else is gone. And so it's like restarting that family. And I've never been divorced or anything like that, but it kind of feels that way.
I can hear that in your voice as you're talking about separating from your old church family.
Yeah.
What's the beauty of starting over?
You know, I can kind of plug in where I want. So I think when you go to a church for a while, people plug you in where they get to know you, and they kind of can exploit, for lack of a better word. You're willing to do things. So I'll give you an example. I agreed to do, I had lost my job at one point years ago. And so on Saturdays, I would go and do the setup for the Saturday night service. Well, somehow the setup turned into, it was like a 4 o'clock service, and I had to be there at 1. I'm like, why do I have to be here 3 hours before? And the answer I got was, well, because the other team that does it the alternate weeks, it takes them that long to do it. And there's 3 of them. And I'm like, well, just because it takes them 3 hours doesn't mean I have to be here 3. I can do it in an hour and a half by myself. So, and then it turned into me being there for 8 hours, because then I somehow had to be there for both services. And I was kind of like, that's like a job.
Yeah.
You want 8 hours of my day off? So I think sometimes, right, they know that people are willing to help and jump in. And so sometimes that they take advantage of that. So I feel like I could go in with, I did a coaching session on boundaries. I feel like I could use some of my new boundary techniques to engage where I want to engage, and not get sucked into, right? Like I can set up and I can do greeting team, but that's probably really not my strength. I mean, it's not my strength. I mean, who can't stand at a door and greet people? But it's not really where I feel like I'm supposed to be.
Where does the idea come from that the minute you step into a church, or as soon as you get into a church, that you have to start serving right away?
I think well, twofold. I think a lot of churches push that about getting connected and engaging. And I think it is a way to meet people. I honestly, Holly, it's not just a church thing for me. It is a small problem for me. So in my life, I have this issue with like, I can't just, this is so funny. I can't just take a group fitness class. No, I have to become certified to teach group fitness. I can't just go and enjoy taking yoga. No, I have to become certified to teach yoga. I have no idea, but I do this in a multitude of places in my life. I can't just go to Bible study fellowship. No, now I have to be a leader in Bible study fellowship. Like it's just this thing. And it's in part why I did the coaching I did a session with somebody on boundaries, because just because I can doesn't mean I should. And even if sometimes I say yes, because as a person I'm able, but my time is not able. And I end up overwhelmed. But yeah. So there you go. That's not just a church problem. That's a mercy problem.
Yeah. What are you learning about yourself right now as we're talking?
You know, that question made me think about leveraging the session on boundaries. Of maybe one of my boundaries for myself is that when I get to the time where I'm looking for that long-term church, that I take 6 to 8 months, maybe even a year before I volunteer to do anything. That makes me quiver inside, just so you know.
I was just going to ask, where do you feel that quiver?
Oh, kind of in my stomach, into my chest. It's kind of like, ugh.
What would be the positive side of waiting a decent amount of months before you jump in?
I think it would allow me to experience the church. It would allow me to really think about where at that church and be prayerful about where I plug in, and not just where I think I can add value, but where God wants me to add value.
How can
But
you
the comes from, right? Like 5% of the people do 95% of the work in most churches. That's the right.
Yes, it is. Yeah. How can you move forward with your thoughts here on finding your next church family, long-term church?
Yeah, I think keeping those items that we talked about in the beginning in my forefront, you know, some of it, you know, the God-centeredness, right? I feel like in part I've waited because I have to go to the church, when in fairness, in today's day and age, I could log in and probably see some of their services that they have on their website that would at least tell me what their worship is like, and it would show me kind of how their messages are, and would I could read their website, obviously make sure that they're actually a Bible-based church. That's always a positive thing. I know not everybody thinks that, but yeah. I could make sure that those things are in place before I actually visit, instead of making it so I could continue to go to the mega church that God told me I'm supposed to be going to right now, that I do very intermittently. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have a conversation with him about that at some point. It might be when I get to heaven and I get in trouble for that, but pretty sure that might happen. But you know, taking the time to, and maybe it's just one or two churches, maybe it's one church a week. Maybe on a Saturday, I look at one church a week, and while I'm continuing to go to this church, and maybe I make it a priority to maybe listen to one or two messages of that. If I think it's a good fit, then that week I'll commit to listening to one or two messages from that church and see how that feels, because I can do that on my way to or from work. And then, right, maybe I, you know, have those 4 things almost in a little chart. I know I feel bad putting God in an Excel spreadsheet, but do the things that are key to me, and just kind of check off the ones that I feel kind of hit those boxes. And then when it's time, I'll kind of have at least some guide of which churches hit the boxes that I was looking for to start with where I go. And not listen so much to everybody else's opinion about what they like or don't like about other churches, because we all have opinions. And not every church is perfect. No, well, not every church. No church is perfect.
Nope. Amen. Only God.
The Millennium Church is perfect.
Okay.
I think it's
I'm not allowed to talk. So your thought moving forward is making an Excel sheet with the important things on it, and then looking at one church a week and seeing how those are adding up with the important boxes that you have.
Mm-hmm.
What obstacles might you need to overcome?
I got to finish this coaching class before I take on additional work.
Okay.
And the woman who runs the coaching class is very strict with us.
Yes.
We have to be in class and finish our homework.
What would serve you the best? What would act as the best support for you as you move forward and looking for a long-term church?
Yeah, I mean, I think for this one, actually, I would probably tell my, I would have my, we call it the Hound Haven Bible Study, because we all used to volunteer at the Hound Haven Rescue. She even has "Glory be to the God" written on the back. It was yeah. I tried to convince her to name, this totally off topic, name 3 dogs, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, because I felt like that would be a great way to tell the story. I'd never convinced her to do that. And now she helps with healthcare, not with rescue. But anyways, I think telling that group and kind of giving, you know, I meet with them every other week, so it wouldn't be, you know, but it could be something that I ask them to kind of hold me accountable for every other week and check in with me about the churches that I've been to, or not been to, but the churches that I've researched and what I found.
So the Hound Haven ladies.
Yeah.
Are your support. Great. So we're coming to the close of our session here. How would you like to end our session tonight?
So I'd like to thank you, because honestly, this was not even a topic I had on my regular list, but things work out for a reason, and this has been extremely helpful for me, and I was not going to give up my coaching session tonight. And this actually worked out. This is a total blessing for me. So
what's the biggest takeaway for you?
You know, I think the not getting involved right away. And when I say not right away, I mean like giving it time and space and letting myself be served versus always being so focused on serving others is great, but there is a time and a place for everything.
Well, hold on to that thought. Hold it tight, and I hope that you have a good rest of your week.
Awesome.
Thank you.
And I've said two things in this, and it's so funny that Cheryl told us not to say awesome and great because I said them both as the coachee.
It's probably because she said them.
I know half that
In her
list. I'm
head.
like, great, now I'm going to do that in my coaching.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to say you were so tough on us, Cheryl. I just,
Yeah, I know.
Did I get
All
an
right.
A for my topic, Holly? Was that a good topic for you?
I think that was a perfect topic for her. What? We can't hear you.
Phone. I know, the phone. Yeah, and honestly, like, if you want to explore that more, I am here because I had like 1,000 other questions. But we asked the ones that were pertinent and came up tonight.
In 30 minutes.
It's funny because the same exact thing happened to me. I was in the bigger church and I was so involved, and then I went same exact scenario, and I'm in the same spot.
I was in full-time ministry for 15 years. I lived it and breathed it, and I still struggle to walk inside a church, and I'm not at a place yet to serve, but I know where God is. I know how to find him. I know how to interact with him. This is my testimony. This is not the school's testimony. And
yeah,
and that's the beauty. Yeah.
All right. So
actually, as a coachee, you know what's interesting about this session from like, you learn how you don't have to share the whole story, but people can still help you with the end solution. Because I don't feel like I don't know. I feel like last time I went into tons of detail with Lori, where I feel like sometimes you can be way more surface level with what happened and still get. I gave poor Lori too much than she needed.
I think that we train our clients over time, if they're storytellers, not to be so much storytellers, right? Because we don't need that information, and it takes away the time that we have with them. You know, hearing the story where they think that we need it. That's really what it winds up being. They think that most of the time, they think that we need it, that backstory, and we don't. We don't need it for the questions that we're going to ask. And if there is something that we need to know, we're going to ask a question to find out what it is. So
plus it can be triggering, right? Where if you're more right, like Holly, if you had a situation and I shared like in detail what happened to me and it was similar to you, it could be more triggering versus just sharing more, general. Like I didn't share what really happened at the church. I just shared something happened.
Yeah,
you're coaching me on how to better leverage my coaching experiences.
Well, hopefully the triggering piece isn't so prevalent for the coach, right?
Yeah.
Because you're learning how to do that with your emotional intelligence and being even killed, as much as possible. Anyway, Holly, how did you feel that session went?
Yeah, it felt really great. I was really determined to get all 8 competencies in there. So, and then I was like, well, I lost a few minutes. I'm going to take them. So I feel like I didn't explore as much as I would love to, but we didn't need it. Like she got that nugget that she needed tonight. And that felt good. I'm still trying to feel more natural with our 4 things for the coaching agreement. So I know they weren't smooth, but I know like really getting through them with her was helpful.
Yeah. All right, good. So let's go around. Who had 3?
I did. Let's see, what did I get? From how I heard it, it took me a while to capture what the agreement was, but I think it kind of it tiered in different instances or became clear. So she started by asking what is important, and there was the finding a new church versus finding what is important to her about a new church. And then I captured 3.2. How is the importance of exploring this topic going to help her? And then 3.2, what would look successful to her? And there was something really beautiful that I thought in there, where Marcy said something about what she's looking for the end of the session tonight. And then Holly reframed that right away into a question right back at her. And she asked, what are you looking in the end, or something like that? What are you looking for in the end of our session tonight?
Mhm.
And which actually got to establish the agreement.
Yeah, good. And then she did ask her where she wanted to start. She asked the importance, so she covered all that, those 4. Okay, good. Who had 4? Go ahead, Val.
I can't get that microphone. I didn't write anything for 4.1, but I don't know if they covered it. 4.2, she said, when Marcy said, it feels like a divorce, Holly said, I can hear that in your voice as you start, as you talk about starting over. Like she expressed some empathy.
Mhm.
4.3, Holly acknowledged the importance of peace that she talked about, and then also commented on when she said, I'm not looking for a church for families, I'm looking for a church family. You know, Holly acknowledged that that was a great distinction and whatever. Those are what I had.
All right, great. Thank you. Who had 5? Go ahead, T.
Okay, so she definitely coached the person. I've got 4 pages of notes and she's got them everywhere here. First of all was how do you feel? How do you feel when you do this? And then she was like, well, let me get back over to my number 1. Sorry. Okay, so 5.1, what's important of this to you? 5.1, what's the meaning? What meaning is it? How is this going to impact you? 5.2, how does it feel? How do these things feel? And she said it's hard to find. And then I got 5.3, what is the beauty of starting over? Is inviting choice. Is that 5.3, right? Inviting choice, yes. And then what are you learning about yourself? I always love this question. What are you learning about yourself? And then she was so in tune with, the shift, and she felt the quiver. I love that part. And as far as holding silence, she definitely did that because she just had this really relaxed presence to her. And you could just see her just breathing and waiting to ask the next question. I thought it was a beautiful session. If that doesn't pass PCC, I'm host.
All right, great. Thank you. Who had 6?
Me. Yeah, I just want to say, Holly, I commend you for having those interruptions with your coaching and then picking up and keep going. Good. I thought that was really good. Yeah, so an example I put down for custom language is she used the term long-term coach, or maybe sorry, long-term church. And she explored the word peace with Marcy, and yeah, she I think she explored the emotions more than just once, but I just put down how, just an example, she just asked, how does that feel for you? And I'm not sure about the 6.4, 6.5. I know that she mentioned about the energy shift, but I don't know if it was an actual exploration. So that.
Okay. Okay. How
Can I
about
ask a
7?
question on that? Can I ask a
Sure.
question before you move on? When, let's see, Kim, when you just said that you didn't feel like that she explored the emotion, right? What was that you said? That you didn't feel like that she had the explores emotions?
No, no, I
No.
thought she explored the motions a few times.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I thought you
No,
said she didn't. Okay, I'm
no,
sorry.
no, just 6.4, 6.5. I wasn't sure about.
Okay. Who had 7?
I did.
Go ahead.
So, I had a lot of great questions on this whole one. The ones that stood out to me the most was I put it under 7.1, expanding the topic. What do you feel is the heart of the matter for you? Was one of the questions she asked. And tell me if I put them in the wrong spot.
No, that's good.
And then 7.4, which was expanding the outcome. I had a couple for this one. One of the ones that I loved was what's the beauty of starting over? And then the other that I put under 7.4 was how did it feel when those 4 things are aligned for you? That could also be expanding the who, so it could fall under 7.2, but I thought it'd probably fit best for 7.4. And then 7.2, expanding the who, is how do you learn best? So I felt like she had a lot of great questions. I have a whole list I could continue on and on, but those are probably my 3.
All right. Awesome. Thank you. And I would say that was correct, how you have them. Go ahead, Christine.
don't remember all the language verbatim now because I
That's
don't
okay.
have any notes in front of me. However, I think she got most of the points early on. Well, maybe in the middle or some point in time, she talked about how this knowledge or how this information would carry forward for her. She went through obstacles. She went through accountability, and I really liked, and I wish I could remember, but I really liked the way she phrased those two, especially the accountability portion. She went through how she wanted to end the session. And I think what I really liked, what I took notice of through all of 8 and most of the session actually, was she was extremely Marcy focused. So she had her Marcy lead the entire way. And I really love that about this session.
Yeah, it was a really good session. Thank you. And I
Oh, I have a
agree.
question. Are we
Yeah.
doing, is this PCC or ACC today?
This would be PCC.
Yay, okay, thank you.
All right. So, the couple of things I noted. I liked in the beginning where, Marcy was talking about the 2 sides of it really. And Holly said, well, which of the 2 is the heaviest for you right now? So she was, definitely helping to narrow down that topic and having, basically Marcy to choose. And, she asked the importance question. She asked about the piece. I liked that as well. One of you mentioned. And then to get that coaching agreement, what would be successful for this topic for you tonight? And what are you looking for in the end? Now, Marcy said 3 to 5 things.
Mhm.
Did we have 3 to 5 things?
2 and no 3. Actually, we did. Look
We
at
did
the
have
web
3?
Excel and then check out a church and like go to their websites if you want to really pull teeth. Let's see.
I got them right here if y'all want them. I wrote them all down.
No, so I mean it's fine. The
Look
reason
at
why I asked
specific.
that is because maybe ask the client to summarize them towards the end, right? So you have them all nice together.
Mhm.
And check in about that outcome. So you wanted 3 to 5 items and we have 3. Did you want to, just summarize those? And then did you want to have, are you good with the 3 or do you want to just
Yeah.
seeing if she wants to go to the 5, right? Now you were towards the end of the time, so I understand, why you did that. But just saying that if a client says 3 to 5, you probably want to check in and say, so again, your language, but something that's going to check in with them and say, so you mentioned 3. How are you feeling about that right now versus, the 3 to 5 that you said you wanted? Something like that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Christine.
So one trend that I notice is we often feel like we don't have enough time in a 30-minute session or a 35-minute session. In your own coaching now, do you feel like 35 or 30 minutes is regularly enough time and we'll eventually get to the point where we're at that space?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it'll feel very comfortable for you to get there.
Okay. Thank you.
It's just practice. And it's like self-improvement where you're actually looking and saying, okay, I'm at 30 minutes or I'm at 35 minutes. And Holly did that at some point. She said, we have about 5 minutes or something left. When you get yourself to start paying more attention to the time, not so much that it distracts you from the client, but enough that you can start to manage it better, it's going to be really easy for you to do that.
Well, and I think it'll probably be easier too once we feel like having all those competencies, getting them all in is just second nature.
Right. Right. Because right now you're fighting to get them all in.
Yeah. Because I mean, I literally have a sheet beside me and I'm ticking off the competencies as I go. Right. And one day when I don't need to do that anymore, I'll do that again when we hit MCC, then I'll go through it all over again. Right.
Yep.
But for now. All right. Thanks.
Yep. A couple other questions that I really liked. What does that look or feel like when for you when you are in worship? I think that expanded the who for her to look at what that might feel like or look like to her. You did the check-in. How do you feel we're doing so far? You did that in about halfway, and then you did it towards the end as well for progress check-in. I did like the question, like Lori said, I think it was Lori that said, what's the beauty of starting over? Great question. And then I think that a really good question, which I didn't hear anybody say, was where does this idea come from about as soon as you step into the church, you have to jump in to serve? So I think that was a very powerful question. I think it goes towards a couple areas on 7. There's a couple markers on 7 that goes towards. But it's also challenging, right? It's challenging the client to think deeper about what their belief is around something that without taking a side, so to speak. Right? So it's a very neutral question in the way it was presented, but it could very well not be a neutral question, right? It could be very easy to put a slant on that. And so I think that was done well. And I think that, again, hits a lot of the markers on 7. And then what are you learning about yourself right now? I love that question. What obstacles might you come against? What would be the best support going forward? Those are great questions as well. And of course, how would you like to end our session? So I think it was very powerful. And I think you did a really good job, Holly. And definitely, I think it was a PCC call. And again, just kind of take into consideration a couple things that I said, but otherwise, I can definitely see the growth.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Does anybody have any questions about the session or the feedback?
Just got something to mention. I just really loved it as she's coaching the person here. She said, what are the ethicals that you need to take care of? So she helped her tidy all of that up before moving on. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. And And you had the agreement, but like you said, it wasn't really smooth and you're playing around with that. And I think also just don't put a lot of pressure on yourself to be perfect about the agreement. Like it doesn't have to be smooth. It just has to be. It just has to be there. And as time goes on, if you have it, if you're asking those 4 questions and you have it each session, then it becomes natural and smooth. But you try to make it smooth is probably not going to have it happen. At least not any faster. Go ahead, Dee.
Okay, so you guys were talking about not having the coaching agreement cemented here. Okay, so tell me, okay, she said, so what is the goal of, okay, she
No,
said, the goal is where I want to land. What am I looking for at the end? And then she said 3 to 5 things that are really important in a long-term church. Now that's what I got as the solid coaching agreement, and y'all are saying that that wasn't good enough.
no, I didn't say that. I said at the end, what I was saying was when you have an outcome, first of all, that's an outcome. And we could go into more of a measurement, but I'm not going to go there. We could get deeper into that. But what I was saying was at the end of the session, they had 3. And the
I
client had
counted
said
4.
3 to 5. Okay, I had 3, but the client said 3 to 5. And so you want to check in with that at the end of the session, just saying,
Yeah, I
are we,
understood that.
yeah,
I
that's all I
understood
was
that.
saying. I didn't
Okay, I
say
got
anything
you.
about not having the agreement. She did have the agreement.
So here's the interesting thing. I meant 3 to 5 things that I was looking for in my next church, but then we're talking about 3 to 5 actions I could take to find that church. So
Yeah, so
for me, we almost covered off we came up with 4 things, I think, in the very beginning of the call. And then I felt like we just continued on to expand because we had hit that.
so that's what I was saying. We could get deeper into that
Yeah.
measurement and the outcome because I wasn't clear from observing it what exactly the outcome and the measurement was. I know it was there. I knew there was pieces there, but I wasn't absolutely sure what it was. So you're saying it was 3 to 5 reasons, basically. And then I took it as 3 to 5 things to do. So, so again, that, when we have, here's the thing. It's okay. When we think we have the agreement, we tend to be like, I have this agreement. Let me go on. And then we just jump into those questions. And so that's why I was saying you could have got a little bit deeper in that to really look at the outcome and a measurement. So if it was 3 to 5 reasons to join a church, then that could have been a whole lot longer exploration, even though you did get pretty good reasons right quickly. But you could have explored different areas to make sure that those were actually, good reasons or reasons that are going to sustain the client or what have you. But again, once you get that 3 to 5, that's really an outcome. And you want to look at the measurement. And it could be something as easily as saying, well, how will you know that when we have those 3 to 5 things? And it sounds silly sometimes, like some way, because, well, they just said they want 3 to 5 things. So how will you know we have those 3 to 5 things? Well, I'll be really clear on what those, 3, 4, 5 reasons are for me to join choose a church. And then you're like, okay, now we're talking about choosing a church or, refining it to be choosing a church versus actions to take. So if you just take another step in there, that might open up or clarify for the client, which is definitely going to clarify for you. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to do something. You are the coach in this situation. What question would you have liked to have asked that that you feel would have created some awareness some more awareness, and that could be around the different areas that they touched on, but just a question that you feel would create more awareness for Marcy, for the client.
I have one.
Go ahead.
I was thinking I was kind of hoping we'd explore the things I didn't like or didn't want, because I thought challenging some of those, and we didn't have that much time, but I felt like challenging some of those might challenge my thinking and why I didn't want them.
Yeah. So just a question like, well, so what do you want? What don't you want in a church?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a really good question right
and
there.
what has stopped you from, joining a church?
Yeah. I think she did explain a little bit about that, but if you want to get really specific, you could say, what do you feel is the one thing that really held you back from joining something? But yeah, so I do like that, Marcy. I think that, for you feeling that from the coaching side, I feel like that's a really strong area to make sure that we explore, is why clients don't want to, or what's holding them back, as far as, in this case, what is it she's not looking for? What does she want to make sure the church doesn't have? Especially since she had a previous bad experience. So you can ask that several different ways, but what are some things that you want to make sure that the church doesn't have, or what are some things that you want to, make sure that, that the church doesn't have, or that, things that you're not looking for in a church, something like that. Lori?
The one thing that came up for me is going a little bit deeper about, like, what is she trying to, I know they talked about it, but the first thing that came up was, like, what does the church really provide you? Right? Like, they talked about, like, everything that she said.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. She agreed. But they talked about everything that the church would provide, but I guess I'm looking at it from a way of, like, what do you want to be receiving from church? Like, what are you looking for? That's kind of like a completion within you. Does that make sense? And I don't know how to say that in a different way.
Yeah,
but
no, that makes perfect sense. So something like,
What fills your bucket?
yeah, or what about the church? What about finding this church and finding the right church is, is important to you? Like, what is the bottom line here of why this is important to you? I think that's the sum of it.
yeah, I think so. It's like because, I thought I heard it where they're like right now, I thought I heard somebody say something along the lines like, I know I don't need to go to church in order to worship, but so it was kind of like along that lines, like, why do you need to go to a physical place if you feel like you can have worship anywhere? Right?
Yeah. So what's important about having a physical place? That's a good
Yeah,
question.
exactly.
Having a place to go to, like, because she does online Bible study. So yeah, that would be a valid question. Kim, did you have a different one?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay. Go ahead,
Got
Dee.
one. How important is it for you to find a church that is set up just like like Jesus set up the primitive church in the New Testament?
So was that mentioned in the conversation?
Well, she said that she wanted to find a church family that is she said that she wanted a church family that is for the family, and the family not for the church. And well, it would be right up there at the very beginning then.
I'm just, so the reason why I'm asking is because we want to make sure that we're not introducing something, right? So
Okay, but she wants to find a church, and we want to get her idea of what kind of church, what things in that church.
That's the better question. what type of church, what doctrine, or, that's the better question versus saying a New Testament or Old Testament, yada, yada. Because here's the thing, in all that conversation, we don't know what denomination Marcy is, right? That whole conversation, we don't know what denomination it is.
She
And
wanted to find a long time church, so that would be important for her. She talked about the Bible. She talked about leading Bible study. So she's a teacher and she's teaching and she wants to teach and she loves to see, it light up. So how important is it to have a church like Jesus set up in the New Testament?
But see, you're assuming that the New Testament, having a church set up like
It's
the
in
New
the
Testament
Bible.
is Dee, I'm not going to argue with you with this. You're assuming that she wants a
Yes, ma'am.
church set up in the New Testament. She never said
No.
that. But your question is assuming that. So what I'm saying is make the question more general and say
Okay.
something like, I don't know, doctrine, or what are you looking for a church that is in the New Testament or Old Testament? Like you can ask those type of questions, but if the way you phrased it is actually making an assumption, and we don't want to make the assumption. That's all I'm saying.
So I'm
I
curious.
gotcha.
So I do have a question now.
Yeah.
So Marcy had mentioned how, like, at first they were talking about how there was no perfect church. And then she said, actually, the millennia.
Oh, the millennium. Yeah. I don't know.
Like, is that a church? Because she said that was perfect. And
No,
so
I was referencing when Jesus come back during the millennium rule on earth. So yeah, I was referencing like Revelation, the coming of Jesus, and when the 1,000-year rule.
Yeah.
That some people, different people have different arguments from a religious standpoint of how that all play it. But that's what I was just referencing.
okay, well, I guess not knowing that, I just would have
No,
said,
yeah, you're like, go to that church.
like what, like, so, what makes that perfect, So,
Right.
I have a
Yeah,
question.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And I don't know if this was explored and I didn't catch it. I also don't know if this is appropriate. I'm not religious myself. I grew up Catholic, but I've divorced myself from the church, not religious. So I don't, I tread with care having y'all this. I don't know whose religion's here or what. So
You're fine.
care and respect. I ask, what caught my attention is that Marcy seemed to make this distinction at the beginning about being served by the church or serving the church. I'd get curious about why, and does it serve to have that distinction made, or is there a possibility where those two might connect?
And that would be a good question. That would be a good way to explore it. Yep. Again, we're not making assumptions there, right? You're asking the client to expand, connect if there is a connection or what have you. And that's really important to make sure, especially, and here's the thing, especially around religion, politics, which I don't ever advise to talk about politics and coaching. That's just my thing. But definitely, especially religion is going to, I'll tell you what, religion's going to pop up. But if you present yourself as a coach that is not religious, then that usually is going to mean that your clients aren't going to bring up religion, right? So, but in case it happens that they do bring it up, you want to make sure that you're treading lightly and that you're putting it all on the client and you're not interjecting any of your thoughts, beliefs, or disbeliefs.
Is it a problem from your perspective, from your understanding? Because I've had my way of going about this. I've coached people that are religious from different religions all over the world. And I've prefaced, just out of integrity, starting by saying I'm a-religious. And if you're still, I'd love to support you in this, and I feel confident I can, but I want to give you the choice.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if you know that they are religious.
Cool.
Like, if a pastor comes up to you, then it's good idea to let them know.
Thanks.
Yep. Somebody didn't get Valerie. How about you? A question you would have liked to have asked?
Sorry, I can never get that microphone. I don't know, maybe how I don't know exactly. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have one in mind.
Okay. All right. Um, so just to, oh, there she is. I think. Hi, Christine. Did you hear me ask if, for everybody to come up with a question?
I did, but I don't remember what we were asking. What we were supposed to ask now. Sorry.
Just, no, that's okay. Just something.
House sitter.
Yeah.
What are we
Just,
asking?
you're just anything that you were curious about. What would you have liked to have asked if you were the coach? You were curious about for the client, not for our own curiosity.
Oh God. No, I know. I honestly, I don't even know. My brain's not in it
Okay,
right now.
no, that's
Sorry.
fine. Okay. So, so I think everybody had, has the idea down as far as making sure that we are curious about the client, that we saw all the great things that Holly did, and then making sure that we are not influencing or inputting anything that we might be thinking or believing, either from a religious standpoint or what have you. Okay. So we are at the end of class, and next week is our big day on Tuesday. And so everybody come full of energy on Tuesday at 6:30. Drink an extra cup of coffee or something. No, not an extra cup. I don't want you spazzing. But come with energy and focus, and we will go over everything again before we break out. Then we'll break out and we'll come back. And then we'll also talk a little bit about the exam, after the written exam, after you're done your recordings. Okay, have a wonderful rest of your week and weekend, guys, and I'll see you back here on Tuesday. Bye-bye.
Night, everyone.
Everyone.